We went through the whole house. We found everything.
What's everything?
The rest of her. So
What?
her head. Yeah, we found everything.
I'm on North 225 West. There's a body hanging off the bridge, no head. There's a dead body.
That's a deer.
Are you sure?
Yeah. But I'll back up and I'll check.
I'm on the phone with the cops now.
Okay, she thinks it's a deer?
No, it's a body. It's a body.
From what I can tell, it looks like an arm.
Yeah, that's what I've seen, with no head. I'm freaking out.
You're fine. I'm going to pull over and I'm going to stay with you.
Okay? I never seen something like this.
On August 20th, 2020, officers responded to this bone-chilling phone call. At 5 a.m., they swarmed the Sugar Creek Bridge, and upon arrival, they were taken aback by the ghastly scene before them. What had momentarily been mistaken for roadkill was a deceased middle-aged woman. Her body was badly bruised, her arms were bent at odd angles, and most disturbingly, her head was gone. At the same time that police were working to make sense of what might have happened to their headless Jane Doe, Indiana resident Michael Parks was making a 911 call to report his wife, Hope Parks, missing.
Hi, my name is Michael Parks, and me and my wife, we kind of got into an argument Tuesday, and I haven't seen her, and I'm getting worried. Somebody picked her up. She got into a car with somebody, and they left. It was either a silver or a white, like Honda Civic.
Following this call, a sergeant from the Crawfordsville Police Department briefly spoke with Michael over the phone to get a description of his missing wife. Michael described a few of Hope's tattoos, one being a heart with his name on it.
Sorry, I'm not going to pause every second, I promise, but his voice is like so deep and smooth, it's kind of distracting.
Really?
Yeah, just me, I think I'm not used to it.
I like it.
Police inspected the body's tattoos. Michael was instructed to immediately make his way to the Crawfordsville Police Department to speak further about his wife's disappearance.
Did you hear that the reason they were able to identify her is because she has a tattoo with her husband's name and a heart on her body?
No.
When he arrived at the station, was Michael informed that the headless woman they'd found that morning matched his description of his wife. For the sake of the investigation, he was immediately escorted into an interrogation room. Never before seen footage was recorded.
Oh, so they know what they're talking about.
The one thing I do, I record everything because my notes suck. I can't write with crap. So I do record everything. But one thing, what is your full name, sir?
Michael Dale Parks.
What'd you call the police department about?
I'm worried about her.
You're worried about your wife?
Yes.
Okay. Why? What's going on?
We've been arguing over my son for the last couple of months.
Okay.
He's in and out of drugs. Can't keep a job. He brought drugs into the house. I kicked him out. I don't want him there. She wants him there. It got to the point where I told her to choose between me or him. She's been wanting him to come home. I say no.
In just the first few minutes, Michael has made several assertions that indicate possible control issues. He's cited several instances where he's told his wife what to do rather than communicating and making decisions together.
Your son has some drug issues or anything? Does your wife have any alcohol or drug issues?
No.
Is there anything that...
No. Okay. She's very controlling.
Michael's answer here is completely irrelevant to the question. Instead of simply responding with information about Hope's substance abuse, he goes into a rather sudden and impertinent spiel about how controlling she is. So far, Michael has taken almost every chance to speak negatively of his wife, even if it wasn't warranted.
Yeah.
I do have anger issues, but I take medication for it. But I've never done anything.
Michael continues to divulge information that wasn't asked for. The fact that he has anger issues, which he takes medication for, clues detectives in on Michael's capacity to become violent. He then feels it necessary to include that he's never done anything violent to his wife. What Michael is doing here is oversharing, or volunteering unnecessary and excessive amounts of information.
I would do that.
Oversharing is, more often than not, a nervous attempt to convince others that one is being open and honest. However, as you can see here, it often has the opposite effect.
When she left, you saw her getting in the car, right? Did you happen to see the driver at all? Couldn't tell, male, female, anything?
Frankly, Michael seems much more concerned about their intermarital issues than he does about the fact that his wife might have been found dead just that morning.
Wait, do you see that note? It's a note. The detective has not yet confirmed the death of his wife.
Yes, but he's told him, it's going to go on and explain. He's told him that the tattoos, they go on and explain it. They just haven't confirmed that it's her. So you would think, if this is you, I'm missing, and a headless body is found with tattoos that match my tattoos, you would be like, is it her? Is it her? Wait, have you guys figured out if it's her? Is my wife really dead?
You said earlier you were going to give her till Friday. What made you decide to go ahead and call today?
My emotions. I'm very worried. I'm very worried about her. I miss you.
That was weird.
In addition to stuttering throughout his answer, Michael appears to break eye contact with the detective for a moment and looks directly at the camera. He seems uncertain in what he's saying.
That's you when we're filming.
That is me when we're
Still
filming.
looking into that. What made you think that something had happened to her?
I think it's just stress. I didn't think anything happened to her. It's just worried. I wanted to know where she was.
This question is at first met with silence from Michael, perhaps because it requires him to go into detail about how he feels about his wife's disappearance. He seems uncomfortable and exasperated, but he proceeds to mumble an answer from behind his hand.
He's going to go over a couple papers with you as far as the consent and just consent to search your house and the car, because there's some things we need to find out about her. I'll go ahead and let him fill that paperwork out. I'll step outside and I'll try to get some more information.
Michael's body language is very important here. At the mention of needing to search their home and car, Michael begins to noticeably fidget. He rubs his face and his leg begins to shake. Michael is then left alone in the interrogation room for the next few minutes. He changes positions and fidgets quite frequently. At one point, he even puts his head in his hands. These gestures signify stress and uneasiness. During this break in the interview, CPD officers made a beeline for Michael's residence to execute their search. They scanned the exterior of the property before thoroughly searching the inside of the Parks home for any clues as to where Hope might have gone on the night that she disappeared. What they would find in and around the Parks property would only raise more questions about Hope's disappearance. Questions that detectives hope Michael can answer for them. Following the break, detectives bring Michael back into the interrogation room in hopes that he may shed some light on their unexpected findings.
They found stuff at his house.
Do you know of anybody that would want to hurt her?
She knows how to piss people off. I can tell you that.
Well,
She knows how to piss people off, or you know how to piss people off.
He said, do you know anyone who'd want to hurt her? And he said, she knows how to piss people off. I'll tell you that. And then he smiled. What a weird thing to say if your wife is possibly headless and dead.
What the freak?
And we found some blood at your house. Would there be any reason why there would be blood at the house?
Me? I cut myself. I smashed my finger.
There was some blood located in the garage.
That would be when I smashed my finger. I didn't do anything. I swear to God, I did not do anything.
Part of it is, like I said, we went through the whole house. We found everything.
What's everything?
The rest of her. So
what?
Her head. You know, we found everything.
How do you do that to somebody? Their head. Your
so
wife.
I think he was trying to make it so they couldn't identify her, but I guess he forgot about her tattoos.
Oh my gosh.
Her
dude.
tattoos that had his name in it, by the way. To keep your wife's head. How do you sleep? How do you lay in bed at night? Ooh, about to go to sleep. Wait, the head.
The property yielded several blood smears and stains on the gravel in front of the garage door, in the grass next to their back patio, on the wood floor of the patio itself, as well as on the ramp that leads up to the patio.
Left a lot of
blood smears as well as bloody footprints were found inside the garage. A bullet casing was also found in the grass near the patio. The interior of the home was reportedly very clean and well kept. That is, until officers got to the basement. It became apparent that there were drag marks in the shallow layer of dirt that covered the concrete basement floor.
Concrete.
Large bloody zip ties and torn pieces of plastic were also found in several locations around the basement. Down there, among the dust and discarded equipment, officers made the most unsettling discovery of the investigation: Hope's severed head. It had been wrapped in plastic shopping bags, placed in a shallow hole in the floor, and covered in dirt and debris, hidden by a pile of flex ducts that had been arranged on top of the grave.
I know what you're thinking, but no, it wasn't me.
Who else could it be?
Talk to my son. I've told you we've had people come to the house.
Mm-hmm. But part of it too, you're telling your son, if he's screwing up, you need to step up to the plate. And if you screwed up, you need to step up to the plate. There's nobody that's going to hurt your wife like you would hurt her. And that's what happened to her.
It wasn't me. No.
Dang. Denying. He's deny.
I'll answer your questions. I'm just saying I didn't do this.
Okay.
And you
He
can
should
ask me
say,
this
"Do you want to
100 times, and I'm still going to tell you I did not do this.
You're the only one at the house. You're the only one who can know what happened to your wife. How did she lose parts of her body in your house?
No clue.
You have a clue.
No, I do not.
Yeah. There's nowhere else for us to look. There's nowhere else for us to go. There's nobody else to talk to about this.
I want a lawyer.
And just like that,
I want
the
a
interview
lawyer.
is over.
Yep.
This time, Michael has clearly communicated his desire to speak to a lawyer. The detectives are no longer allowed to ask him any more questions. Michael gets up and begins to anxiously pace the room once more. When he sits back down, he sits on the side of the couch that's the farthest from the detective.
So what happens now?
This clearly communicates his desire to escape the situation as soon as possible. Finally, the silence is broken by a police officer who has come to put Michael in handcuffs. His hopes of removing himself from the situation are dashed. He's escorted to a holding cell by a pair of armed police officers. However, this isn't the last that detectives will hear from Michael. Detectives have lost hope of getting any valuable information out of Michael.
So that's why he's
that is until 4 days later, when he unexpectedly requests to speak to detectives again without a lawyer present.
Hey there, Mr. Parks. I was on the back porch after everybody left. I was going to shoot a groundhog. He never came back. I went to discharge the gun. I shot 3 rounds into the tree. I went in the house. I was going to clean the gun. I sat at the kitchen table. It went off. There was still 1 round in it. She hit the floor.
Hey, what just happened?
I panicked. I just flat out panicked. I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry I lied.
No, that's fine. Now here's a chance for you to tell us what happened. So she's on the floor. You're upset, obviously. What did you do at that point?
I wrapped her in a tarp and took her down to the basement.
Here comes the crocodile tears.
By telling detectives how he moved the body and cleaned the scene, Michael might have just unknowingly admitted to tampering with evidence.
The closer you are to something or somebody, you get more residue, and the further away, the less residue you get when you fire the gun. So she seemed to have some residue around the entry wound. So that would indicate that the gun would be closer.
I don't care what anybody else thinks. The whole thing was shooting her. If she was where she was standing, I don't know. If she was right there, I don't know. I did not stick the gun to the back of her head and pull the trigger. I did not do that.
And all I'm telling you is the science proves differently.
Then she was closer than what I thought.
That's a lot closer.
That's all I can say.
Oh, he's getting heated now.
He said
he's getting heated.
Well, because they basically said the science proves that the gun was almost touching her head.
Yeah.
The detective is offering Michael a way out by suggesting that his actions were simply triggered by something that his wife might have said. This shifts some of the blame onto his wife, which may make it easier for Michael to admit his part in what happened.
Ever been a problem with that rifle's trigger and going off when you didn't want it to, or?
Not that I know of, no. I didn't even have it that long. Maybe a week and a half.
There is no way that the gunshot happened the way you're presenting it.
Yeah, that's what I think he went to check.
Yeah.
This is the time.
Like I said, I don't remember exactly how it happened. I'm telling you, I did not do it on purpose.
Didn't kill her on purpose or didn't shoot her on purpose?
I didn't shoot her on purpose. It just happened.
I just want to know why. Because that's the same thing you're going to want to know. Same thing your daughter wants to know. When your son wisens up, it's the same thing he's going to want to know.
I know why it happened. I can never tell him. I can't do that to him. Because that's the reason why I pulled the trigger. Not intentionally.
Again, Michael cites his son as the reason for his
now
plight.
he said he pulled the trigger.
This is the
Oh
first
my gosh, what a slip up.
He
that
just
was
effed up.
crazy.
Anybody hear that? He literally
Let's rewind. He said his son is the reason he pulled the trigger. He just admitted to murdering her.
Okay, everyone listen to this.
I know why it happened. I can never tell him. I can't do that to him. Because that's the reason why I pulled the trigger. Not intentionally.
Again, Michael
Did you see
cites
him?
his son as the
But
reason
not
for his
intentionally.
plight. However, this is the first time he specifically said that John is the reason that he killed his wife. He quickly tries to backtrack, though the statement implies that Michael is probably more aware of the reason behind Hope's death than what he's letting on. He may have slipped up due to stress and fatigue from the long interrogation.
Holy crap.
After 4 long hours, the interrogation is now over. Michael is escorted from the interrogation room without further incident. Following his interview, Michael was moved to Montgomery County Jail, where he sat for almost 2 years. He was scheduled to stand trial in front of a jury on May 9, 2022. That is, until investigators made a single haunting find that would spell doom for Michael's case. It was discovered that prior to Michael murdering his wife, he'd been doing online research on the effectiveness of bottle silencers. Bottle silencers are makeshift gun silencers constructed simply from plastic bottles. Not only that, but he'd also looked into whether pillows could be used to muffle gunfire. This discovery proved that the murder of 44-year-old Hope Parks was indeed premeditated, and under Indiana state law, crushed all possibility of Michael receiving anything less than a murder charge. On May 6, 2022, just 3 days before he was scheduled to stand trial, Michael changed his plea from not guilty to guilty and accepted a negotiated plea deal. On May 9th, Michael Parks was found guilty of the murder of his wife, Hope Parks. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison without the possibility of parole.